All right, let's go ahead. Let's get this thing kicked off. Today is December 3rd, 2020. Really, really huge update. Such a big update. You guys, I gotta freaking cut a video for this, okay? So this is our website. This is the 2020 Election Evidence Project. Our website is www.electionevidence.com. Guys, what we're doing is we're actually comprising all of the evidence that we can find all across the internet, basically talking about anything regarding election fraud or any evidence that we can find regarding this crazy 2020 election. Guys, any donations are definitely appreciated. That's going to help us get the word out, get our team members messaging more people, reaching out to more state representatives, all this kind of stuff. So anyhow, though, let's go ahead. Let's get started with the bombshell that was dropped today. So there were 2 hearings in Georgia. Such crazy stuff. So 2 hearings in Georgia. Now, all right, I'm probably going to get a little bit of this messed up a little bit, but long story short, what was supposed to happen is you were supposed to have a Fulton County representative. It was like the state top secretary, not like the state secretary, but basically Fulton's top, election person was supposed to testify today. But they were unable to make the appointment because there's a recount, so they got tied up. So instead, they ended up sending this lady and another guy to this hearing. Now, the thing that I want to talk about, and the reason I'm cutting this video, is because there's been a lot of controversy surrounding a pipe that was burst. Okay, so apparently a pipe burst, and here, let's actually pull up the article over here. Let me see if I can find it. Yes, pipe allegedly burst. So check this out, guys. This is incredible. So a pipe burst in Atlanta. ABC News. You can look this up. It was reported all over on election night. The timestamp on this article
is I'm going to die. I'm going to leave my children with.
Close that. This article was timestamped on November 3rd, 2020 at 11:25 p.m. So this was the night of the election. And essentially what they're saying is that sometime on election day or night, there was a pipe that was burst and it stopped people from counting for 4 hours. Okay. So, and this was in Fulton County. This was actually at the arena that they were at. I'm actually going to let this guy tell his story on the burst pipe. So let's see if we can find it. So she's going to talk. He talks lengthily. She's going to talk. And now they're going to ask a question about the burst pipe and he's going to come up. So here we go. Okay, let's go.
Rundown on the water main break and what transpired.
Trust me, I understand. Miss Abby has been working, like I said, for 4 weeks trying to coordinate, and different things keep happening. So it's been hard to get people here.
Yes, sir.
So with that, since the buttons don't work, is there anybody that doesn't want to ask a question? I see that. The pro tem indicates he has a question on microphone 14. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Chairman Pitts, for being here and everyone for being here today and giving us your time. And I know you're very busy. I'll try to be brief. Give us a rundown on the water main break and what transpired there. People are seeing ghosts in the shadows, and we need you to expound on that, if you don't mind.
I'm not sure. That thing is taking a life of its own. There was a leak. The floor above where we were counting ballots at State Farm Arena. According to Steve Coonan, CEO of the Atlanta Hawks, that occurred at 6:07 a.m. I forget the exact date. By 8:07.
All right, so you guys, he's going to repeat this a couple times. He says that this pipe burst on election day, 6:07 a.m., and then he's going to say it goes to 8:07 a.m. and he, remembers it because it was just numbers that really, really stuck out. Remember what he says here, okay?
At a.m.
That was the day of the election?
Yes.
Okay.
And it was repaired within 2 hours. No ballots were damaged. No equipment was damaged. End of story. So how this has gotten to be what it is, I have no idea.
Were there people in there working at that time when the leak was discovered?
I was not there, but presumably there were people there because we started at probably 7 o'clock, I believe. I'm sure that some people were there.
So it happened at 6:07, it was repaired by
8:07.
8:07. So there were people there working at 6:07 when it was interrupted. Were they in the room? Were they asked to leave, and was the room secured? Tell us how that was handled.
Now, I was not there, so I cannot answer that question.
Okay. Okay.
And I will say this, sir, because the question of chain of custody has been raised. So I have had an opportunity to talk with the staff about that. I was not personally there. But my understanding is just in a room like this, if there was a leak over here, that does not mean that all of you would necessarily leave. And that is my understanding, is that the workers who were responsible for those ballots never left the room. They were in the room the entire time. They had to stop working for a period of about 2 hours. And that was the reason it was brought up in the first place, is there was a slight delay of a couple of hours where they couldn't access the entire room. But they did not leave, and they were, the ballots remained in the custody of the sworn workers.
Thank you for bringing some clarity to it.
Yes, sir.
And I'll just add that Mr. Coonan will testify to that effect, that it was 6:07. The reason I'm so specific about that is because he's told me on more than one occasion, 6:07 to 8:07.
I may need to know the name of the plumber. I have some.
So that's kind of interesting. He's saying Mr. Coonan will absolutely testify to this because he has. I'm just now catching this because he's told this guy, multiple times that it happened from 6:07 to 8:07 a.m. Right? Okay.
Leaks from time to time. That's hard to get them fixed in 2 hours.
Okay, so that's the whole pipe thing. Now, this is where it gets really, really interesting. You guys can do your own research. I'm just pulling this up for the sake of time, but ABC News obviously reported this at 11:25 p.m. that a pipe burst in Atlanta and it caused a 4-hour delay in processing. All right, now this was 11:25. Read through the article here. Pipe burst in Atlanta Tuesday morning, causing a 4-hour delay in processing, according to the Deputy Secretary, State Jordan Fuchs or whatever. So here's where this gets really, really. Oh, and this was also at the State Farm Arena. All right, so now this is where, again, check out the timestamp on this because this is where it gets kind of like what's going on here, okay? Now, here's what we have. Bear with me. Let me find this. This is 5 battleground states shut down, counting the night of the election. Okay? If I go through this article and I look at this tweet in Georgia, I think this was the one. Yeah, this is the tweet. We're going to pull it up right now. Here we go. Okay, let's close that. So this is in Georgia at the State Farm Arena. We're going to go back to the thread. Oh, hold on. Oh, shoot. Hold on. Okay. David Shafer, who is the chairman of the Georgia Republican Party, he says, let me repeat, Fulton County election officials told the media and observers that they were shutting down the tabulation center at State Farm Arena at 10:30 p.m. on election night, only to continue counting ballots in secret until 1 a.m. This is where everyone started saying, oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist. There's no evidence that any shutdowns happened. Nobody got kicked out, blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? We're about to find out exactly what happened here. Because in the afternoon, this is so beautiful. In the afternoon session of this Georgia Senate hearing, you guys see all these comments just freaking going nuts right now. Let me tell you why. Actually, let me show you. All right, let's go ahead. Let's play this. This is a Trump lawyer, and I'm just going to let her do the talking, guys. I'm going to shut up, and we're going to see what happened at 10:30, if it was related to a pipe burst or what. we're going to find out exactly what's going on in Georgia at the State Farm Arena.
Your name and your position, please.
So I'm Jackie Pick, and I'm here as a volunteer. I am a lawyer, but I'm not acting as a lawyer in this case. I'm just helping out the legal team here. And going to explain to you the evidence that we have from State Farm Arena here in Fulton County, which goes to what Ray was talking about in terms of fraud or misrepresentation. So when that cues. Okay. So it's going to be tough because I'm going to have to depart from the microphone and point out some things at times. You're looking at one big room here. This is where, according to our witnesses who've given us sworn affidavits, this is where the absentee ballots and military ballots are being tabulated on election day. So we have the tape.
Hold on, guys. Let me see if I can make this full screen. It's going to be hard to see, but guess what? This is now public information. You guys, do your own research. I mean, you don't have to be a rocket science to see what you are about to see with your own eyes. You guys can say whatever you want to say about this, but it's going to speak for itself. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's press play.
From first thing in the morning all the way past the close of the polls. What you have is essentially two Republican field organizers who were sent here to be observers. At no time were they actually permitted to observe in a meaningful way. I'm sorry, I have a voice issue today. They are roped off with the press on the side. See if I can show you. Keep your eyes right here. Okay.
Tell you what you could do to help us out so that everyone can hear who's live streaming. If you would tell us what you're going to point to and then go point to it.
Okay.
All right.
So,
Guys, I'll try to help you out as she goes through this.
now what will happen is these frames can move around. So this can get a little confusing, but I'll make sure to make it clear. We have two observers there that are going to show up, not at this point, this is in the morning, as you can see the daylight. They're going to get there at about 8 o'clock to watch the tabulation of absentee and military ballots.
Hey, something else I got to point out. You guys, look into the bottom left corner of this, and it's kind of annoying because they've got this stupid graphic on top of it, but this shows, oh, and if you haven't figured this out, guys, this is live camera footage from, well, not live, but this is camera footage from the State Farm Arena. So it's kind of cool. So it's 11:02 a.m. right here.
But according to their affidavits, at about 10 o'clock, there was one person working the polls who told everyone in the room to leave on the basis they were going to stop counting and return at 8:30 in the morning. So if I can get the frame for approximately 10 o'clock or 10:20-ish.
All right, so now this guy's going to fast forward down here. You're going to see it.
Yes.
We'll have to come back to the morning for a different reason in just a second. Okay,
like
so you can see what time it
9:56 or
is.
something. Right here, like 9:56.
So we're at about 10 o'clock. And what you'll notice is that the workers are present, working, and you have, back in that corner I pointed out to you, the press and the Republican observers.
Press is over here, guys, right here.
So according to the witnesses, the Republican observers, there is a lady who has blonde braids who comes out to announce we're going to stop counting.
Right here.
Everyone go home. And in fact, we see that. What happens is everyone clears out, including the Republican observers and the press, but 4 people stay behind and continue counting and tabulating well into the night from that point, which is going to be about 10:25 when they all clear out, or 10:30. And they will continue counting unobserved, unsupervised, not in public view, as your statute requires, until about 1 in the morning. The reason we know this is because when our Republican observers were forced to leave, they went to the Central Tabulation Center and they got word from a news crew that in fact counting had continued. They have information that not everybody left according to plan, and some people stayed behind. So this shocked them, so they returned back to State Farm Arena at about 1 o'clock in the morning, where they confirmed that in fact people had just left State Farm Arena in contravention of what they had been told by the supervisors who are running this operation. So, okay, we're still at about 10 o'clock. Can you take us to about 10:25 so we can see the change? You're going to watch this place be busy and filled up to emptied at some time between 10:25 and 10:35, which is consistent with what the affidavits say.
Okay, so we're like at like 10:25-ish now. We see people are starting to
Okay,
pack
so
up.
10:25, they're still there.
Obviously.
Let's go to 10:35. It takes it just a few minutes for the frames to actually catch up with it. There you go, with the time that you're seeing. So here you see it's all cleared out. We just went from 10:25 to 10:37. The place is a ghost town. This is where the people were vacated and told, go home, come back at 8:30. We will now stop working and stop counting. But notice who stays behind. You have 4 people, consistent with our affidavits, who stayed behind. And so you'll see the lady in purple. You'll see 2 women in yellow in the back.
Okay, so what she's referring to might be hard to see. You guys, look it up for yourself. It's right in front of you. The 2 girls in yellow, you have a girl in purple, and then there's somebody off in this corner right here. That's what she's referring to. And then we've got the press, and it looks like, I think the GOP watchers is what she said at that point. Let's keep going.
Which is where the scanners are. They're at the top right frame. And then the lady with the blonde braid.
Okay, so these are the scanners. These little sections, there's all, this is where they actually scan ballots, right here. Up here.
It's also who told everyone to leave. Those are the 4 people who will stay behind. Those 2. Okay. Observer's still there.
PR's down here. These
So
are the people that are going to be
Republican
kicked out.
observers said they were the last people to leave State Farm Arena, along with the Fox News crew, accepting those 4 people. So what you're going to see, look at the ladies in yellow. You'll see that they will begin just sitting still, doing nothing, ostensibly not working, because after all, they said they're going to stop counting. They will wait until the witnesses over there in that roped off area, the press and the observers, leave the room. Then you'll see them move into action and begin scanning ballots.
Okay, so we're at 10:40 right now. The press still looks like members of the press are just cleaning up. Looks like some GOP watchers. Maybe there's like one guy from what I can tell right here. These are the scanners. The 2 ladies in yellow are sitting right next to the scanners. Here's the girl in purple, and then we want to find the girl with braids. She'll pop up.
Okay, so I think what we can do now is fast forward to about 11. Do you see them? Yeah. Okay, there they walk. They're walking off. But the ladies in yellow are still there. Yes, keep your eyes on the lady in purple.
All right, no more GOP watchers, no more, press or anything.
And the 2 in yellow.
Here's the lady in
And the
purple.
woman in the blue apron with blonde braids, because those are the people who stay behind.
It's hard to see on this camera, but this is the woman with the blonde braids right here.
Okay, so what you're going to see happen at about 11 o'clock is once everyone is gone, coast is clear, they are going to pull ballots out from underneath a table. Watch this table.
This is the table.
So actually, this will take a few minutes, but we did not know when we first watched this, okay, is it normal to store suitcases of ballots under a table, under a tablecloth? Is that how they run the place? Maybe this is what they've been doing all day. Maybe this is what they're doing under all the tables. So we went back and watched the video as a team of us. We don't see that. What we see is typically you're going to find ballots, back in this corner, or coming in through a door, and then they get moved and circulated throughout the room. And it can get a little confusing because they have these black containers of ballots. They have the U.S. Postal Service containers. But
By the way, we now see, a couple more people than 4. But remember, at the time that the press and everybody else was kicked out, they said there was probably like 4 people left, right? So, just because there's 5 or 6 doesn't mean that whoever left it at 10:30 or whatever didn't see 4 people there. Okay, keep that in mind.
what we're trying to do when we determined that there were ballots being pulled out from underneath this table is, what was the chain of custody? Where did they come from? Who put them there? When did they put them there? We only reviewed this at about 1 a.m. last night for a couple of hours, so we're going to need about 14 hours to watch it.
Here's the other thing. She just said something really, really amazing. They just got this video. Get this. Okay, this is really going to make a lot of sense in a second, but she just literally got this video last night at 1 a.m. is what they say. All right, I'm going to give you my opinion on that, and I think it'll make a lot of sense when you see some of the reactions from these state senators with what we're about to see very, very soon.
Carefully because we fast forwarded through it several times and could not find that particular frame, but here's what we can tell you for sure. At about 8 o'clock in the morning, we're going to roll this back and show it to you. There you go.
Hey. What are these? Where are you getting these boxes of ballots? Where are you getting these suitcases, pal?
So now they're going to start.
My best impression of the one girl. What'd you do with them? You do something crazy?
Pulling these ballots out from under this table. This table, the black one, was placed there by the lady with the blonde braids.
What's that?
At
A suitcase?
8:22 a.m. in the morning. So she put that table there. So the same person who's staying behind now, the same person who cleared the place out under the pretense that we're going hello in the back.
Keep your eyes right here, guys.
Where the scanners are, there at the top right frame.
Oh shoot.
And then the lady with the blonde braids also, who told everyone to leave.
Yeah, sorry.
Those are the 4 people
far back.
who will stay behind.
Go back.
Why are they only counting the normal to
Here we go.
store suitcases
Watch.
and ballots under a tablecloth?
Watch
Is
the
that how they
table.
run the place? Maybe this is what they've been doing all day. Maybe this is what they're doing under all the tables. So we went back and watched the video as a team of us. We don't see that. What we see is typically you're going to find ballots, back in this corner, or coming in through a door, and then they get moved and circulated throughout the room. And it can get a little confusing because they have these black containers of ballots. They have the U.S. Postal Service containers. But what we were trying to do when we determined that there were ballots being pulled out from underneath this table is, what was the chain of custody? Where did they come from? Who put them there? When did they put them there?
Lady in the braid.
We only reviewed this at about 1 a.m. last night for a couple of hours, so we're going to need about 14 hours to watch it carefully because we fast forwarded through it several times and could not find that particular frame, but here's what we can tell you for sure. At about 8 o'clock in the morning, we're going to roll this back and show it to you. There you go. So now they're going to start pulling these ballots out from under this table.
What the?
This table, the black one, was placed there by
another
the
one.
lady with the blonde braids at about 8:22 a.m. in the morning. So she put that table there.
Wow.
So the same person who's staying behind now, the same person who cleared the place out
Wow.
under the pretense that we're going to stop
Look
counting,
at this.
is the person who put the table there at 8:22 in the morning. Yeah, I saw 4 suitcases come out from underneath the
Guys, there's no press here. Nobody's watching them. No challengers. This guy's clearly in on it, whoever he is.
Yeah, upper right hand, you see the gentleman in the red. So he just pulled one out.
Got another one.
So what are these ballots doing there, separate from all the other ballots? And why are they only counting them whenever the place is cleared out with no witnesses? Is the question. So these machines can process about 3,000 ballots an hour. You have multiple machines there, and they're there for 2 hours. So you do the math. How many ballots went through those machines in those 2 hours when there was no one there to supervise, to be present, consistent with your statutes and rules, to supervise the tabulation? We believe that could easily be, and probably is certainly, beyond the margin of victory in this race. Because if it's only 3 scanners working for 2 hours, right, that's 18,000 ballots that went through.
And it actually looks like this very well could be 4 if you include this guy in the red. I think, why don't we go ahead, let's do this. Here, I'll leave this going, but let me see.
So we're now at 11:09. There were, in addition to the 4 workers that you see there were 2 other people who were bringing ballots in and out. The gentleman in red that you saw, and then a second person, I can't tell if it's a male or female based on their hair being pulled back in their mask, but in any event, that's 6 total people. And so if we were to sit here for the next 2 hours, what we would see is that this operation just goes on and on and on. They're scanning until about 12:55 in the morning. So we kept the video running. And, we can show you the people who gave us the affidavits.
Hey, didn't this conspiracy theorist say that Fulton County elections officials told the media and observers that they were shutting down the tabulation center at State Farm Arena at 10:30 p.m.? And didn't he say that they continued to go till 1 a.m.? And didn't everybody say that there's no evidence of it? I think I remember somebody saying that. Let's go back.
Reappearing at that time, just as they said, around 1 a.m. to find out, are they in fact counting after they told us they would stop working or not? And we will fast forward to that. But have you all seen as much as you'd like to see of what's happened?
Go back a little bit. I want you guys to hear that. They went till like 1 a.m.
Okay, so it's updated to 12:50. You can see these people are still there up in the upper right-hand corner.
Guys, the getting's just getting good. Wait until you see some of these reactions.
Basically, they've wrapped up. This is the end of their operation. They've now completed about 2 hours of unsupervised tabulation of ballots. So now you're going to watch them leave. And let's fast forward to, let's go to 1:30. I think it was between 1:30 and 1:45 is when our 2 witnesses come back. They had to fight through security to get in there, but they did. And they say in their affidavits that 2 different people affirm for them that people have been counting from, 10:30 when they cleared out until about approximately 5 minutes before they arrived. And they have the names of those people who told them that. Okay, now we're looking at, 1:42 in the morning. Is there a way to fast forward a bit or make it go a little faster? Okay, there are guys right there in the lower left-hand corner. So they've now returned to State Farm Arena, having heard from the press that they had continued counting because they wanted to see for themselves if that was really happening, which was a complete contradiction to what they had been told by at least one person from Fulton County who's an employee and spokesperson, and also the lady in the blonde braids we spoke about earlier. And so they see for themselves. And from this, we get the affidavit.
Whoop. So, surprise, surprise, here they are counting these fake secret ballots coming out of boxes in frickin' suitcases. And nothing to see here. And then sure enough, they get tipped off at 1 in the morning. Hey, there's still people counting and nobody's around. And sure enough, the people slipped out right before they could actually get caught in the act. Who knows? Maybe they were tipped off. Obviously, these guys were already told that. Obviously they were already told that nothing's going on, so they must have been inquiring to somebody, and so boom, there you go. They just slipped out basically the back door.
I don't know the name of the lady in the blonde braids. They simply gave a description to us, and you can make out clearly who she is based on the people in the film. Lady in the blonde braids, halfway down her back, is the person who yelled out, "Everyone leave and stop counting." I believe Ms. Waller is the
Isn't that funny? So the lady in the blonde braids is the one who brought the table, and she's also the one that kicked everybody out. And then she's also the one that said, "Hey, we gotta go." I'm telling you right now, she's in on it. Obviously, I mean, it's nothing crazy, but dude, freaking find out who she is, find out where she is, and let's start freaking, busting the mob the same way that Giuliani did back in the 90s.
spokesperson for Fulton County elections who remained behind. The other two people they don't have names for. They just said they were older women, and one of them had the name Ruby across her shirt somewhere, and that's as much as they know about who those people were. But so our guys go in, they look around, they ask a few questions, and they leave. It is from their affidavits that we even knew to ask about this, and you might recall that the press reported there was like a supposed water break or water main break or pipe break or whatever, and that this was an excuse for people clearing out of State Farm Arena. It's not clear from the affidavits I saw whether or not that was the reason given by the election official or whether they gave any reason at all. They just said, "Stop, we're leaving, we'll be back at 8:30. So I don't know if that was a play here or not. Okay, can we back up to 8:22 a.m. in the morning, same frames, because we wanted to know, when did that table get put there? Who put it there? When did the ballots get put there? Who put it there? Okay, so 8:21. You'll notice the table's not there at all. Here it comes. There's the table going in that we're talking about where the ballots were obscured.
Hey.
That lady who's moving it is the lady with the blonde braids. She's dressed differently in the morning, so it took us a while to figure out that's the same person that you see at night
Look,
with
there's
a
the
blue
table.
apron on, who's yelling for everyone to leave and who stays behind to help tabulate ballots after they've all left. So I can see that she's the one who chose to place that table there, close to the scanners. And so the video is still under review. We need to spend hours reviewing carefully how those ballots got there. But we can tell you that it appears to be an aberration from how the other ballots were handled in that room throughout that day. So that's the gist of it. Do you have any questions?
Any questions, Senator D?
Hey, real quick, before we get into that, I think I just found some fake news or misleading regarding this. I don't know. I'm reading this for the first time. Let's see what this says. Pipe burst in Georgia. It says false. Logically false. Oh, the election apparatus is in Georgia. Yeah, that turned out to be true. Yep. In Georgia, a pipe burst at a faraway location, totally unrelated to the location of what was happening. I mean, yeah, it turned out to be a toilet. You'll hear the lawyer say that in a second. Claim is false. Oh. Fake news. What do you know? More information, more bullshit. Let's keep going. Oh, hold on. Here's what I want to put out. Guys, okay, so if this is what was happening the night of the election, let's go back. They weren't the only place that stopped, quote unquote, counting in the middle of the night on the election. In fact, there's a lot more states. Look, there's Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, Nevada. And they all did this anywhere between, East Coast time, 10:30, let's say 10 o'clock, all the way through 8 a.m. in the morning. All of these different places. I think Michigan was like 6 o'clock. I could be wrong. Guys, it's on my website. I mean, Check it out if you want. You can fact check me. I don't want you guys to just taking my word for this. I would love it if you do your own research and educate yourself on this stuff. Fact check my stuff. That'd be great. I would love it. Oh, and then that's when these. Let's not forget. I'm not even talking about the vote dumps right now. Wow. Let's get back to what we were talking about. Let's see what the state senators have to say about this whole thing.
Fulton County Chairman Rob Pitts testified in a committee earlier today that the water break occurred.
Rob Pitts, that's his name. That's the dude that was testifying before. Now, I don't know if I explained this correctly or not, but it was supposed to be like the head of the Fulton County, I forget what they're called, like the clerk or something like that. That person was stuck at the recount, and so they had to send the two other people, all right, the guy and the girl, they had to send those two people to testify in the place of the head of Fulton County. So that's kind of an interesting thing too, because that dude, just hear this out for a second.
It's 6:07 a.m. and was repaired by 12:07 a.m. Fulton County Chairman Rob Pitts testified in a committee earlier today that the water break occurred at 6:07 a.m. and was repaired by 12:07 a.m. 8:07, 2 hours, 6:07 until 8:07, and that the water main break did not disrupt the work of the whole room. That his example was that if we were counting ballots working in here and the water main break was in the back, or the leak, that we would just simply move out of the way of the leak. But he testified this morning that the leak occurred at 6:07 and was repaired by 8:07 a.m. From what I'm seeing here, I don't see anybody moving around to avoid a leak.
No.
He did.
Wow. So he said that there was a leak in the corner. You don't see anybody walking on, trying to sidestep or get out of the way of the leak.
State that the leak was greatly exaggerated and that it was not like wiped out the whole place. But I just thought that might be.
What's that?
I mean, the water leak, according to the commission chairman, was at 6:07 a.m.
I'm told that we have a video that it was a toilet leak and not a water main break. But I know that Mr. Pitt's name was mentioned in one of our affidavits, and our witness says that he was physically present in this room clear up until everyone was made to leave. So presumably, if he was in the room at the time, they made the announcement he would be a witness to that. He was one of the last to leave, but he did leave in front of our witnesses, before our witnesses. Yes?
Senator Parent.
Thank you. Thank you for being with us. We heard from the Secretary of State's office earlier, just a couple hours ago, that they've investigated this repeatedly, that they had a monitor on site the entire time.
You guys, this one is great. This is actually great. Look at this lady's reaction to this. She's going to tell you, oh, no. This story's been debunked. She's like, no. This story's been debunked numerous times. Everybody already heard about this in the Secretary of State, and it's been debunked. Watch.
And frankly, this has been debunked for weeks by our Secretary of State's office.
I doubt he's seen the video.
Then I think the courts will probably be able to handle this once you present your evidence to them.
Boom, going to court.
As I'm aware, there have been about 40 lawsuits dismissed already. And according to the law of the state of Georgia, we do not have the power to submit alternate elections.
I just have a question for you guys, and you can't answer that, obviously, because it's a video, but I don't know. Would you guys consider this evidence? Do you think that this would be enough evidence to get to court? Or do we still have no evidence? I don't know. You guys, maybe you guys can help me answer that question. She seems to think it's going to court.
The provision in the law is quite clear at 21-501F.
Is there a question?
Senator, we'll ask questions. We'll have a time for statements at the conclusion.
My question is, the question is, since this has been debunked repeatedly, what evidence can you give to us that counters what our elections officials have presented us with only an hour ago?
You just saw it. Your officials need to watch the video.
What about the fact that they say that they had a monitor there the entire time?
I can't speak for them.
Well, thank you.
They did not have the video.
They said they had a monitor the whole time. Be quiet.
You're
Okay.
looking at the room.
There's no Secretary of State.
Then maybe we should invite them back in.
Well, we may need to do that. Senator Tillery, what number are you? Number one.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Ms. Pitt. I just have two questions just to try to follow through and understand this a little better. Thank you for presenting this. Push on for you.
Yeah, get a little closer to it.
Okay, is that better? Thank you again for being here. Thank you for presenting this. I just have two questions to kind of understand it a little.
All right, you guys, you can watch this on your own time. We're going to post the full video on the website. So what we're doing is with firsthand witnesses, we're putting those towards the top of the page, like our firsthand witness accounts on election fraud. This whole thing about Clinton Curtis, just found this today. It was absolutely fascinating. Highly, highly recommend looking into that guy. We decided to actually put it all the way up to the top of the page just because, well, check it out. But anyhow, so for this one, I think we're going to put it right here. It's going to be somewhere like right here on the firsthand witness accounts. But guys, I appreciate your time. Appreciate you watching this video. Here's the thing that I'm starting to find as we do this is that one of the most amazing things, I'm so happy to run this project because what we're starting to find is that all of these bits and pieces of the puzzle are starting to fit. And so, you know, a tweet from one guy, hey, they stopped counting at 10:30. Oh, by the way, there's so much fake news out there right now of, you guys already know this, but so much fake news of trying to discredit stories before they actually play out. So just be wary of that. But it's really amazing to see how the pieces are coming together of the stories. And so we've got one person over here saying, hey, this is what happened. We've got another person over there saying, hey, I saw the same thing over here, or I saw something similar. And then to see them line up, what we're about to see, you guys haven't seen the video yet. All right. The Trump team has not put out the video, but there's literally video. Michigan is the next Georgia. I'm telling you right now, there's so much evidence. There's so much messed up stuff in Michigan. If you scroll down the website, here we go. Yeah, guys, I don't even have all the stuff put up just because it takes time to dig and upload the videos. But here's what I was going to say is that things are starting to corroborate. The pieces are starting to fit together. Georgia was the first, I guess, big one where everything corroborated and played together. Michigan, I'm telling you right now, is going to be the next one. Do me a favor. If you guys have like any video, if you guys have any audio or whatever, if you got any tips, any links, whatever, use this form down here. Leave a tip below. All right. We respect your right to anonymity. You don't have to. If you want to, you can leave your email down here. And if we need to get in touch, we'll get in touch with you or, you know, hook you up with a lawyer or something like that. But if you want to stay anonymous, just fill out the form. That's fine. I have no way of knowing who you are. So yeah, that's Georgia. December 3rd. Pretty crazy stuff. All right, guys. Talk to you later.